All right, go for it, Paul.
Okay, testing. Today on Quality Time... Fuck. All right, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn who punched out to this goal, why and what's the reason for.
I like it. All right.
Thank you.
And
I've done better, Dylan.
I like your Bob Dylan better than Bob Dylan's Bob Dylan.
well, late Bob
Blasphemer.
Dylan, yeah. This Bob Dylan right now, yeah, that was way better, Paul.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sort of enjoy that. I could listen to you do Bob Dylan more than I could listen to Bob Dylan do Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
Aww.
it is a little true. It is a little true. I gotta agree with Corey a little bit on that one.
I know that hurts you.
Fair enough. I mean, he's a better songwriter, but I'm a better interpreter of his songs.
Songs.
Yeah, you're doing young Bob Dylan when, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'm
like Jimmy Fallon, but
but better.
I fill in the blank. Everything. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
I know you have hatred for Jimmy Fallon.
You have.
I never hated anyone as much as I hate Jimmy Fallon.
I don't get it. I like Jimmy Fallon.
I'm kind of with you, Corey, a little bit too. I do find him slightly charming.
I do. I suck his cock. I think he's cute.
Wow. We didn't need to take it there, Corey.
Wow.
Said
Sorry.
He's moderately funny.
Corey Pepper, I would suck Jimmy Fallon's cock. That's
Suck his cock.
All right, guys. In 3.
I hear his cock. I hear his cock goes upward at the same angle that he fails upward.
And to the left.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
In 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me as always is Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how are you? I'm
good. I've been working a 12-hour day today so far, but I'm a young man, and I'm really proud of Corey.
Yeah, Corey, how are you doing?
Walk us through your day, Corey.
Please, Corey.
I was teaching lovely students this morning at 9 o'clock, and then we're teaching lovely students this afternoon of a much younger variety. So it was just from 9 until 6. I was just teaching.
And then what did you do right when you got home, Corey?
I watched tonight's episode. In fact, I don't even know the name of this episode. I hadn't had time to go back and look at it. What is the name of this episode?
Well, for everyone following on Netflix and playing along, we are on Season 2, Episode 3, The Harder They Fall.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering, what the fuck did Paul say at the top of this episode?
And you probably are.
Yeah, I hope you, if you aren't, then we're probably me. Like, if you're the only person who got that reference was me. It's a reference from the live bootleg series number 6. Where Bob Dylan played at, gosh, what was it? I feel like it was Carnegie Hall, and it's a 1964 Halloween concert. He sang not Lonesome Death, what is it? Who Killed Davy Moore, a song about a boxer.
Paul, even Bob Dylan doesn't remember that night.
Paul, what's scary to me is you know more about Bob Dylan's oeuvre than I know about musical theater, and really, I am a scholar of the musical theater, and you are really know a lot about
Dylan.
Is there an artist that you know that much about, Scott? Is there anyone you know that much?
No, not that much. No.
You know what's scarier, guys, is I know more about the Beatles than I do Bob Dylan.
And I believe that too. I absolutely believe that too.
And one more time, you're not married?
Right.
Thank you. I was hoping that you would take it back to me.
I just
listen
wanted
to
to make sure of that. You're not married, right? Because I was confused.
Yeah, no, I don't have time to spend to waste on like caring for another person or anything like that.
Corey, you know the bulk of Bob Dylan's work. Come on, this is not something that can just be knocked out. Right. Paul is in the depths, in the trenches of Bob Dylan's work.
That is impressive. I'm impressed.
Now, we are so off topic because there's If you're listening, then this is so far back in time of what just happened, but today is a huge day in the life and times of one of our best dear friends, Joaquin Nunez.
Joaquin Nunez.
It's his birthday.
It is his birthday.
38 years old today?
When you say it like that, it sounds very depressing.
It does.
There was no way I could put a positive spin on it. But happy birthday, Joaquin Nunez.
It's Joaquin Nunez.
I hope he finds the time in his busy schedule to listen to our podcast.
I do too. I really hope Joaquin just becomes like this mythical figure on our show that we never really meet, but we just keep constantly berating and talking about.
Like the neighbor in.
I wish you were that in real life.
Oh, Joaquin, we love you. Well, guys, let's jump into the episode. Yeah? And holy shit,
must.
I think we have to. And holy shit, does this episode start? It starts off with Mallory breaking a plate, like no line, anything. Crack, right there.
Just like the beginning of Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone. The drums smack.
Just right in there. Like Mallory breaking a plate.
The opening of the doors of perception.
Yep, it's parents' night at school.
Yes, thank you, Corey. Because why else would Mallory break a plate? It's parents' night at school. One of Alex's favorite nights of the year. He compares it right up there with Christmas Eve. He's excited. And Mallory, of course, is terrified because Mallory doesn't get good grades. So she's nervous and is breaking plates left and right.
Now, did you have
I
that problem? I was going to say,
go ahead, Corey.
When you were a kid, Paul, you're a year older than Barbara?
2.5.
2.5 years older than Barbara. So were you that good of a student or that bad of a student then if Barb got the same teacher, a comment would be made like, oh, that Paul Packler, he's a good one. Or, oh, that Paul Packler, what a son of a bitch that little boy is.
That I believe.
It was definitely both. I think early on it was the former, and then by high school it was definitely the latter.
Son of a bitch.
My brother was a goody two-shoes.
Oh, really? Oh, did we lose you, Corey?
He's frozen.
So I'd show up, 3.5, 4 years later, and I'd get oh, you're Larry's brother. You must be an excellent student. And then it's like I start yapping off right away, and it's like, you're not like your brother at all. No.
That's awesome.
And I was thinking that was what I got, with Alex and Mallory. That same, Mallory was not or Alex is such a good student, and Mallory is quite the disappointment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Scott? What was your dynamic?
My sister is 3 years younger than me, so we had a good separation. I was a good student. My sister refers to me as the golden boy because I was like you, Paul.
So she had a lot to live up to then.
She did. I don't know how many of the same teachers she got that I did.
Because I was in honors classes and she was.
Slam. Scott Jones slam.
Scott Jones slam. But yeah, I was like you, Paul. I just didn't really have to work that hard at school, and she kind of did. But Emily, she also had. She wasn't that. She got decent grades, but she was like into. She did the whole cheerleading thing. She had a big circle of social popular kids.
You can say it, Scott. You were a loser.
I was, Paul. I was. God damn it.
Look into the mirror, Scott Jones.
I can't. No, please. Please don't make me.
Let's hope Paul's reason to live is look into the mirror. This is what you really are.
What?
I can just picture him slapping his face. You love Bob Dylan. You know Bob Dylan.
It's like that scene in season 3 of Curb Your Enthusiasm when Larry gets stoned and goes into the bathroom and he's like, you're a piece of shit. And he's like, what? Everyone knows you're an asshole. And he's like, no.
It's the greatest moment of honesty.
Oh, I love it.
So one thing we find out in this kitchen scene is that Alex really wants Elise to talk to his teacher, Mr. Tedesco, because Mr. Tedesco has a brother or a cousin at Dartmouth, and can get him and can write him an awesome letter of recommendation and get him into Dartmouth, which is where he wants to go, this big Ivy League school. So it's really important to Alex. Really talk to Mr. Tedesco, butter him up.
I gotta stop. I find that slightly strange. What's strange to me is if you're that caliber of student, Dartmouth, Yale, what does it freaking matter? So you're going to apply to a bunch of Ivy League schools, Brown, University of Pennsylvania. So you go and apply to these really good schools, and who cares? Do you really have your heart set on fucking Dartmouth other than Princeton,
That's
Yale,
what I was thinking,
Harvard?
too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just thought if you're that caliber of student, that's all basically the same. I hunger to go to school in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Is that where Dartmouth is?
Dartmouth is New Hampshire.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I don't know why they picked one over the others.
I guess they just wanted to focus that maybe this guy has some sort of affiliation, or he's a graduate, or he does interviews for. They never really approached it, and even later on, they never really dealt with it either.
Right. But we, so we get to the actual parent. Oh, and it's also important to point out that Elise is going to be going to Alex's teachers, and Stephen is going to go to Mallory's.
Right.
And so then we cut right to Mr. Tedesco's classroom, and we meet Mr. Tedesco.
Ruben Tedesco.
Ruben Tedesco. And Paul, I think you described it, when we were talking about it, you described it very well. He sounds like Vincent Price.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was very interesting casting because he's slightly fey.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's slightly, but they didn't want to go over the line to gay, that the character was a gay character.
Right.
They just completely just keep him sort of almost foppish in a way.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, like I remember reading like old like the biographies of the Marx Brothers, and that there was like a certain fey character in their classroom vaudeville play. Like they would have a full play where it took place in a classroom, and they would have a fey teacher character that they would all just like gang up on and stuff like that. And this character seems in that weird old vaudeville archetype.
Yeah.
He actually does. Very one-dimensional. Even later, he's still one-dimensional. He just is heinous.
Yeah.
And I thought it was sort of an interesting choice. He made interesting choices. He was not bad in this episode at all.
No, I actually
one
really
note, but that's the writing.
And he looked like he had that weird mustache, and he was always wearing like a vest with his suit. He looked like Tom Buchanan from the Great Gatsby, but it was that old one with
the Robert Redford one.
Yeah, who's the actor that played Tom Buchanan? It was someone's brother.
Oh, is it a Bridges? Is it a Bottoms? A Bridges?
Yeah, he was in Nebraska. What's his name?
Bruce Dern.
Bruce Dern. He looks like a fey Bruce Dern.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I can see that.
Yeah.
So when we get into this classroom with Mr. Tedesco, we get a shot, and of course, I write it down, and of course, I get the answer in a few moments. But did either of you think, what's Grandma doing in the classroom?
Yes, I did too. I wrote that down too.
That woman looks like my grandmother. My only living grandmother.
Yes. And we find out the only reason is just for a joke setup, and that's it.
Yes, exactly. And that's why it was sort of really slapped me in the face, and then a few minutes later it was like, oh, okay, now I know why she's there.
Right.
But the other thing that was really interesting early in the scene was that he says to Elise that he had Mallory last year.
Right.
Now, if he had Mallory last year, is this the first year they're holding a parents' night?
Oh,
no
good
parent
boy.
had Mr. Tedesco last year if Mallory had him.
Corey, you just sunk their battleship. That's exactly, absolutely. Jesus Christ. You're right. This episode, yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to regale you with my cover of Bob Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone.
Here we go. Okay.
Crack. Ding. One time, this so fun. There you go.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point, Corey.
I was
Holy
just kept
shit.
on going, I don't get this. Nobody seems
Because
to be
they would have
knowing
met,
that.
yeah, they would have known that he's a dick, and that's the thing that we find out in this scene is
Mhm.
Mr. Tedesco is just a total dick.
Yeah, he's a
Absolutely.
dick.
Yeah,
He's
he's
just-
like, yeah,
I
he's
thought-
doing like, oh, go for it, Corey.
I was gonna say, I just thought with current events, he's Donald Trump. He just says, he says
Yeah.
unbelievably big things just to piss people off. No
Yeah.
other reason.
And this man is a teacher. Let's point. This is
Yes.
just a parent-teacher conference, and he is a teacher, and he is calling people old,
Fat.
fat,
Mhm.
idiots. I mean, he's Don Rickles without any charm whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Like, he is insulting left and right for no reason.
Truly no reason, because by the end of the episode, we've learned nothing further of why he acts the way he does.
Exactly. It's
No.
just one note. They don't give us anything else.
Right. I mean, the only thing I could comment is like the way the actor played it. Again, he made some great choices. It's just like, I am so fucking tired of teaching. I can't take this anymore.
And
So
yet he's only in his late 30s or early 40s.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely
exactly,
a confirmed
yeah.
bachelor in his late 30s.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like Joaquin Nunez.
Happy birthday, Joaquin.
Yes, I heard it's my birthday today. On very good opinion.
Happy birthday,
Kramer,
Joaquin.
you obviously have not read the plays of Strindberg, and you're really fat.
We have lost all listeners, but Joaquin probably.
Mhm.
Did you guys ever have at your school? Was there ever a teacher like this that you just could not believe was a teacher there? Like,
All
I
of
can't-
them?
What?
I had a humanities teacher whose name was Ray Matienzo, and nobody called him Mr. Matienzo. Everyone called him Ray Matienzo. And Ray Matienzo had a goatee, very much like I have at this age.
The circle
Ray
of life.
Matienzo, he wouldn't even deign to be the drama teacher in a high school.
Oh.
Instead, he taught Shakespeare. He taught all of the very hard. I had a class with him about Christopher Marlowe in high school.
Ooh.
Ray didn't let the class read Otello, which he refused to call Othello. He called Otello. He refused. I said, it's not in Italian. The opera is Otello because it's written by Verdi and he's Italian. The play is Othello. It's written by freaking Shakespeare. He's British.
What's British?
Otello. He wouldn't he read Otello to us. He would go, so Otello says, and he would read the speech, and Desdemona says,
Desdemona.
It was Desdemona. Desdemona
Oh
says,
god.
and then he would stroke his goatee, and he had fungus on his fucking fingernails, too. So I had Ray Matienzo in high school.
Wow.
I had a teacher for economics who I can't even remember their name, but he would write on the board the number of days he had before he could retire. And we're not talking it was like yeah, absolutely. This is how much he hated his job. He would write every day on the board
He would make hash marks as to how many more days he has left.
Just a number. Like, okay, I have 101 more days. And it wasn't like this was his last year of teaching.
He had ways to go.
Yeah, he had like 2 or 3 more years.
Wow.
And he just kept writing a number every day, new number on the board. I was like, and your teacher, wow. Yeah.
But I wonder, how does Mr. Tedesco keep his job? Surely
Yeah,
there had
I
to
mean-
be a complaint prior to this. He's heinous.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, Corey, we know the teachers' unions can't do shit. Come on.
That-
That's how
Yeah,
effective
this
they are.
episode was paid for by a bunch of hedge fund assholes. This is where the school reform movement came from.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So, things get heated. Elise stands up for the room and basically says, "You've insulted us all." And then Tess goes, "You know what? If you don't want me to insult you anymore, I'm walking out. I'm leaving." And Elise tries to stop him. He's like, "Well, what are you going to do?" And Elise rears back, punches Tedesco right in the mouth. Yep, and that fades to the kitchen scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing
And it's a
needs
good
to be
moment.
said.
And Meredith actually plays it great. She builds it really nicely, and then out of nowhere, boom, clocks Tedesco right in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back at the kitchen, and the kids are trying to fix a broken plate. They have super glued it together, and they just have to hold it together for 2 minutes, but it takes all three of them. And this was kind of it started out as I thought what was going to be a really good physical bit where they all had to stay together, and then of course the phone rings because we got to have phone calls on Family Ties.
Right.
And it's someone for Alex. Mallory has to get it and has to pass it to Alex. And I thought they could have done more with that bit because all Alex really does is like, hey, I'll get it in the other room, drops the phone, the plate breaks. I just thought they could have done more there.
I don't know. They did some neckography, like Justine Bateman picks it up with her chin and then passes it to Alex, and he holds it with his teeth or something.
Yeah, teeth. Yeah,
it's all right.
I guess I kind of wanted them to try to actually take the phone call for a little bit and then have the
keep it going.
Yeah, just for a little bit. I want just a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah,
that's me.
You're a stern taskmaster, Scott Jones.
I am. It's true. And then Elise and Steven come home, and Elise is like in total shock. Can't believe what she did. Feels horrible. Feels guilty. And still kind of processing what just happened. And they have to tell Alex that Elise punched Mr. Tedesco.
I think she's super, super good in this episode because she didn't have the perm from last week. It's gone.
Yeah, they got rid of that, thank God.
Yeah, they straightened her hair back out again, thank God. Yeah. Unless this is out of sequence and we see the perm again in a week or so.
Right. And speaking of good physical bits, I like the physical bit that they have with Meredith Baxter Birney where her hands are just like in a closed grip, and Michael Gross has to keep pulling them off. I was like,
I thought it was good. I thought it was a good physical bit too. I thought it was really good with her anger, and this is how she's so worked up. She's so angry at Tedesco.
Yeah. And so they decide it's like, okay, let's call Mr. Tedesco, smooth things over, and just explain to him what happened. And so Alex runs out, grabs the phone number. They call Mr. Tedesco, and immediately Elise gets in another argument, even saying, "Where do you live?"
Yeah.
That's great.
No, I just want to ask. I don't want to get it too off the rails, but like this is where the act out already happened. It's like things just clip along very quickly in this episode. But I'm guessing, Scott, you haven't had to go to a parent-teacher conference as of yet.
Not as of yet, no.
Corey, what's it like to go in as a parent?
Well, I'm not a very mature person.
Shut up. You shut right up.
I get nervous. I feel like I'm going to get my kid in trouble because I'm worse behaved than my child is.
True.
Although in Logan's case, that's not necessarily true. In Griffin's case, that was true. In Logan's case, he could be just a little worse than I am. He's got a very big mouth, so I try and be as quiet as possible. And Susanna is always very polite and she laughs at every teacher's jokes. And
she works the room. She knows how to work the teacher.
Absolutely. So she's really just trying to charm the teacher for our child's benefit.
And probably to cover up what you're going to probably eventually say at some point.
Well, and Susanna can almost instantly tell if I have hate for a teacher.
Okay.
And that does happen on almost a yearly basis. There's some teacher that just rubs me the wrong way. They've been there too long, and they seem like they don't enjoy themselves anymore, and they're not trying to put on a show on parent-teacher night, on parent night. I think it's their job to put on a show. Dance, monkey, dance.
I agree. I agree. I agree with you. Now, Corey, knowing that I'm going to have to walk into this at some point, how do you handle that?
Handle what? The
hatred for a teacher, because I can definitely see myself in a room with a teacher I'm going to hate.
I shut up and then I just tell myself that it really doesn't matter.
Okay.
Wait, what are your tells though? Like what does Susanna do?
Yeah.
Oh, she can well, I don't know. What are my tells? when you know I'm going to get pissed at a teacher. The jaw. I do have a jaw thing. I've got a jaw thing. I do. Yeah. I have a very tense
Susanna, welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah, so at least you can answer that question. Yeah, I can do that, and I can also start muttering things under my breath to Susanna. You know,
I can
this old bag. Oh, he has this old bag. That's gonna be interesting.
I can so see Corey doing this.
Oh, I bet she doesn't give them grades on report cards. She chips it into rock like hieroglyphics. I can get very cranky with some of these teachers, but whatever.
I so would have joined you on a parent-teacher conference.
That would be amazing.
But
I
then,
would love.
Parents come to me all the time now, and how's my child doing? And now I realize it's just a business. You just play the game. It's like,
Yeah.
They're wonderful. Well, how even if they suck ass, they're wonderful. They're wonderful.
Right, because it is going to make it a little bit better for your kid too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, things have gotten really bad with Tedesco, so now it's Steven's turn to go to his classroom and try to smooth things over.
And the first thing Tedesco or says is something like, I could sue you, He has no damages. There's nothing. It's not like Elise knocked a tooth out, bloodied his lip, he had medical costs. What are you going to sue him for? A humiliation?
Yeah, I feel like maybe they're bringing Arnold Schwarzenegger in and they spent all their money because they have no money for makeup for a black eye. Like, what the fuck is going on in this episode?
Really? Hey, makeup person, give the guy a fat lip or a bruise or something.
Yeah.
And not to spoil anything, Steven hits him in this scene too. So it'd be funny later on we see him with two black eyes. Like it gets worse and worse.
It would be
that
much
would have been a
better.
good fit.
Scott Jones, that was the funniest thing you've ever thought of. That was amazing.
Really that? Okay. Okay. Well, I want to be. It's Joaquin Nunez's birthday, so I want to be funny.
Happy birthday, Joaquin.
Happy birthday, Joaquin.
Well, Scott, I will say, I really do think you have moved up in front of Joaquin. I'm just challenging Joaquin, but I think you are substantially.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
I worked hard. I worked really hard.
I knew. Don't get emotional. Don't get emotional.
No, we got a show to do.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So this guy wants to sue. He can't sue, but he starts now acting with Steven like they're buddies.
Yeah.
He asks about whips. Is she?
Yeah.
He calls her an Amazon.
Right.
This got really, really weirdly sexual at some point. Because it starts with, okay, I see Tedesco's turn of liking Steven because Steven compliments him. He says he's intelligent and civilized. So I got that because that's something I would believe that character would kind of lock onto. It's like, oh, okay, you're praising me. So I lock onto that. But then he wants to know, like, he calls Elise an Amazon, and he wants to know, like, what she's like, and it doesn't involve whips.
Whips, she calls her a she-devil, and then he whispers. And, of course,
it's something.
What do you think it was, Paul?
Yeah, Paul.
I was thinking,
you say it.
I was thinking, given his druthers, Tedesco would have gotten Steven involved in, like, that movie Autofocus about the guy from Hogan's Heroes.
Bob Crane, sure.
He and the other guy started, like, filming each other fucking a bunch of different women, and then the guy ended up killing the guy from Hogan's Heroes because of their weird crypto-gay love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Tedesco was going for.
Okay, that's one reading of it.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
I really am. I'm a simple man. I don't know if you know that. I'm a simple man.
And mature.
And I think Tedesco just leaned over and says, "Does she ever blow you?"
Whoa!
Boom! Blow you.
I can see that. Okay.
That's very simple. That's
simple.
Do you think Steven would get up in arms about oral sex?
That's a good question. Maybe it had to be worse than that. Maybe it had to
be. But it's also very disrespectful to women. So I can see Steven doing that. But I do agree with Paul. I think it had to be something a little bit dirtier.
Because that whip thing came out real fast.
Yeah. See, yeah, because we're already going to whips. I think it has to be. I think it has to kind of trump whips a little bit.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking maybe a finger in the ass or something like that. That's what I was thinking.
Whoa,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You know it's
You
Joaquin's
could've given
birthday
me a
when
little
finger in the
warning on
ass
that.
comes
That's
out.
right. Happy birthday, Joaquin. Yep. I'm thinking something a little bit more evasive. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. But again, so let's just do the rundown of what Tedesco said.
I just
Paul
want
is thinking autofocus, weird, crypto, gay filming. Corey is going simple, simple blowjob. And I'm just going to kind of go down the middle with finger in the ass.
If you're listening and not
I'm
watching,
fanning myself once again. If Minute Maid's not going to sponsor the show, the New Yorker will.
Oh, we would love that. That would give us some clout. That would give us some credibility.
absolutely. Yeah. The
Absolutely.
only thing that sucks about the New Yorker is Andy Borowitz. If I can be so bold.
Please.
Yeah. Get rid of him. My God, he's the
Well,
worst.
thank God he only contributes like once or twice a year.
Yeah. I'm gonna get on a soapbox and say, Andy Borowitz, you're done.
You're done, Andy Borowitz.
Mm-hmm.
Has the New Yorker ever printed the phrase "finger up the ass"?
They do, but they usually put like an umlaut over the second S. That's a deep New Yorker joke right there.
That is a deep New Yorker joke. All right, so we go back to the kitchen, and Steven's kind of in the same reaction that Elise was after she hit Tedesco. He's shocked. He's trying to explain what happened. It's like he blacked out, and he says, "And then I punched him in the face."
Mm-hmm.
The man
He's very
is slime.
sad. They seem so disappointed in themselves, Elise and Steven.
They really are hard on themselves.
That they
in this
couldn't
episode.
control themselves. Control themselves from what? From a douchebag? Punch
Yeah.
the guy. Who cares?
And they're trying so hard to make peace with him, and there's just some people you're not going to make peace with.
Just a douchebag. That's
Yeah.
what you're not going to make. And by the way, I really thought the Alex's eating bananas and choking on a banana twice was a good bit of little comedy that
It was.
they worked up.
It was.
Definitely.
It was. Yeah, I liked it. The physical
I missed
comedy
the
in this
orange
was
juice,
good.
but I appreciated the diversion to banana. That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last week we had a great orange juice bit with this, the wine glass. So, we don't want to overkill.
Right.
Yeah. But
And I also liked Alex had a very funny line and a very funny delivery when he realized that both of them have now punched Mr. Tedesco, and he said, "I can't let you two out of the house."
Yeah.
I thought that was a very funny line at that moment. I thought his delivery was really good. He snapped at them like this was the moment where I realized, oh, they've nailed the fact that the child is parenting the parents.
yes.
Yeah. And Michael J. Fox is a great straight man in this episode.
Yes, absolutely.
He really is.
Because he has to be reactive in this one.
That same sort of like hysterical energy of in Arsenic and Old Lace that Cary Grant does.
Yes, absolutely.
He's surrounded by crazies.
Mm-hmm. I'm the normal guy, and everything is falling to shit around me.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. But then we get to this strange piece of logic they come up with is to make peace, let's have this douchebag over to our house. We
honestly
failed
couldn't
twice at this.
I
Let's have him
couldn't
over.
believe they actually did this. I thought they were going to find some way of ending the episode without getting Mr. Tedesco back into their home. Because
Yeah.
he's heinous, and I couldn't believe that they had enough time left in a half-hour episode to make him less heinous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, they're going to up the ante and have him over to their home, this douchebag, over.
Mhm.
Like that's going to make anything any better. And in fact, we see it makes it worse.
Exactly. And before we get there, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Guess who's coming to dinner? Well, you already knew it was Mr. Tedesco, the douchebag.
Oh, I was thinking Joaquin Nunez.
No, it's Mr. Tedesco.
Oh, okay.
By the way, there were two lines at the end of that last scene in the kitchen that I thought were particularly funny. I think it's still in the kitchen. Yeah, it looks that way on my paper. Jennifer had one of her best lines that I can remember and delivered it great, where, hey, I had a geometry teacher I didn't like very much. Could you guys just rough her up a little bit?
Yeah, that was a good line.
I thought that was pretty funny. And then Alex says something when they announce they're inviting Mr. Tedesco over for dinner. Alex chokes and says something like, "Dinner, what are you going to do? Keep inviting him over to finish him off?" And I thought they were getting into sort of like we're mobsters and we rough people up kind of thing. And the rougher up and finish them off were like very rough.
It was good. It was, and I gotta say, so far season 2, they're using Jennifer a lot better.
They're using her more judiciously. They're spacing it out, and they're sharpening. I'll bet they have somebody on that staff, on that writing staff, who was just there just to punch up Jennifer.
Yeah. Because actually, I had marked a line that's coming up that was my favorite Jennifer line that we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, there are a bunch of great Jennifer lines in this episode.
Yep, it's really good.
And yet, left her out of the plot entirely.
Well, that's the big complaint that Scott and I were talking about before we started recording, is that the thing that this episode, it's kind of boring. The thing that would have made it a lot better is a second plot line. Now, it's just...
It was just a plot. They just didn't even have the time to address a B plot this episode.
Yeah. And that the B plot would have punched everything up a lot better, keep it more gelled and flow a lot more.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah, because it might have made me overlook the fact of how ridiculous it is that they're having Tedesco over to their house. That they had something of a B plot.
And if they had stretched it out, they wouldn't have necessarily had to have Tedesco over.
That's true.
They could have just had more filler in a B plot, and then they wouldn't have needed this last scene, which to me goes a little ridiculous.
It goes a little. Yeah. Okay. So, long story short, so they're having Tedesco over. Elise is cooking a chicken. Once again, never going to see that dining room again. They're having it out in the living room. And Tedesco comes over, and it's the weirdest exchange. He says at one point, like they say, we're having chicken for dinner. He's like, I had chicken for lunch. Like expecting them to cook something else.
What kind? I mean, we already have established he's a douche. How much further do we have to go? He has Asperger's now. He can't. He has no social skills.
Yeah. And it's also in that delivery. I think if you would just have, blow off the chicken like it's not that great, but like, I had chicken for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But he says it like, I demand something else.
Yeah, like everything is so pointed that it makes him just not even a realistic person.
No, exactly. He's not human.
At this point, he's a cartoon. And the actor does a great job. It's fun watching him, but there is no reality left anymore in Mr. Tedesco.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the word down, he seems sadistic during this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they all so Elise and Stephen really want to punch him again, and they get up and leave to be diplomatic, and the girls go with them, and it's just Tedesco and Alex in the room, and Alex kind of calls him out. It's like, look, let's be honest, you're not going to give me that recommendation, and Tedesco's like, well, am I? And shows him that he has a recommendation ready for him.
You know what you just made me think of? That he's so sadistic to Alex and the rest of the family, and he talks about the whips. I really think that my random improv about autofocus is probably right on the money.
There is some psychosexual problems here.
Because he says at one point, it's like, this is what I like being a teacher, watching students squirm. It's awesome playing God. He says he's playing God. Wow. Yeah, I think you're right, Paul. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all comes together.
It all comes together back to autofocus.
Yeah. And it all comes together right in front of the cameras.
Hey, in the movie version of autofocus, they did turn it into a film. I know I read the book, but they turned it into a film, right, Paul?
Yes.
You saw the film?
I only saw like
in that movie?
5-minute increments of the film. I've never seen the film.
Oh. So you don't know if Joaquin Nunez is in the movie or not?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who did he play? Did he play one of the like stewardesses?
He plays the friend of Bob Crane. He plays the other guy.
The friend of Bob.
Oh yeah, of course, yes. Yeah, that's who he played. Yeah. He did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good job.
He sang a song from Falsettos that was great.
Which he'll be the first to remind you, I couldn't get cast in.
Oh no.
Oh, Corey.
Joaquin will be the first one.
Well, Corey, it's always
I'll let him have his little victory. I will. I'll let him.
Yeah. It's his birthday. Aren't you going to let him have his victory?
Let him have his birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Joaquin.
Happy birthday, Joaquin.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Wow, that was a great delivery. That was a good accent.
Thanks. I'm the
And you don't
father
do
of
accents.
a high school Spanish teacher.
So Alex gets the recommendation, and immediately, this is like a thing with Tedesco, immediately he starts insulting Alex's family.
Mm-hmm.
Calling them that evolution, that he's very fortunate, sometimes evolution goes awry. Yeah, really insulting his family, and just as Alex is he has it, and then the rest of the family comes in, saying that they've defrosted some steaks from Mr. Tedesco.
I mean, I'm with Tedesco on this. If you're going to defrost steaks this late in the game, they're going to taste like shit.
Yeah, that's true.
They've got to come to room temperature. You're right.
Yeah.
They didn't have microwaves in 1983.
No, you can't.
You don't microwave a steak. You don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, so Alex basically says, no, we're not going to have steaks. We're eating chicken. And he tears up the recommendation, and Tedesco starts insulting Alex. And Michael J. Fox has this great move where he wants to punch Tedesco in the face, and leans back and goes, whoa. It's really good physical.
It is, except I think it undercuts the 1, 2, 3 of a joke. Like he should have
True. That is
yeah,
true.
that was it. I was waiting for the
that
third
is true.
punch. I thought
he should have almost punched him in the face, thought better of it, and then like kicked him in the balls or something.
Yep.
Like that would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a surprise. Absolutely, that was their out of the scene.
I'm wondering if it was the thought of, well, if we end it like that, and this kind of being a trend at the time, no one learns a lesson. Like there's always seems to be with these sitcoms back then.
Yeah, we got to have a lesson.
If he hits Tedesco, then there's no lesson learned.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, what was your Jennifer line that you liked?
What's that? I'm sorry?
What was the Jennifer line that you liked in the scene?
Oh, I forgot about that. It was when everything's very awkward when Tedesco comes in. Like the initial greetings happen, and then Jennifer goes, "They say it might rain."
And then Mallory has this nice long pause of, yeah.
It's the most
that was a good moment.
It was just a great delivery, and it wasn't the expected way to phrase the line. That it was just really nice.
Yeah.
And it was really nice that they dressed Jennifer like a sister wife in the scene.
Well, again, it's a formal affair of the Keene household. Someone has to be dressed as a sister wife.
It's a rule.
It's the rule.
Yeah.
They got that little house wardrobe to go plow through, so, yeah. And so it shows, Alex stands up for his family. He says, I'll be lucky if I'm half as good as they are. I'll be really proud. And they kick Tedesco out. And then the family's proud of Alex, of course. That was great. They apologize. But at the same time, there's this dumb bit at the end where there's another knock on the door. It's Tedesco. And he's like, okay, I'll have the chicken. It's kind of a bad joke at the end, I thought.
I thought they had a really bad ending to a relatively okay episode, and I thought it was just a dreadful ending to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than, like, eating up time, I have no idea why that was, like, a punchline at all.
Right. Uh-huh. Like, he's gone. I mean, you could have just ended it like they've done before, just like, big family hug or whatever. That would have been much better than just having that punch at the end that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and that's the episode.
That's it?
Yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction that, like, a few seasons from now, we won't even remember this episode existed. That's how, like...
That's true.
I just watched this episode, and I don't even remember it at this point.
Yeah. We didn't... It's one of those things where it's not good enough to be remembered and not bad enough to be remembered. Yeah. Like, we'll always remember the Ming episode. We'll remember that.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, see? See? Anything with Jeff, we're always going to remember.
Bad.
I'll never forget the way that Ming walked with one foot in front of the other.
Yep. I would love to put this out to anyone that's listening. I had an idea for a T-shirt. I think there should be a picture of Jeff, and it just should say, fuck you, Jeff, on it. If anybody out there wants to make those T-shirts, we could use some merch. So please,
merch.
Send us some pictures. tweet it to us, just a picture of Jeff, and saying, fuck you, Jeff.
That would be amazing.
That'd be incredible.
Actually, you know what would be great is having that in French.
That too. Oh, that'd be great too. Yeah. Then you could wear it anywhere, and only French people would know what it said.
Exactly, yeah. And how often does that happen?
Exactly. Not enough. Yeah.
No.
Nice one, Paul.
Thank you.
Well, everyone, be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. And for questions and comments, email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at QTWFT for updates. And you can also follow each of us. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
Hey, Paul, did you get your 300th follower? Weren't you waiting for your 300th
did you,
follower?
I did. You know who was my 300th follower?
Who?
The President Richard Nixon.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm at Corpep, by the way.
And let me just say this: if you want to follow, if you want to follow Joaquin Nunez, he's at BRDWY1, the number 1. Broadway 1.
Everyone tweet a happy birthday to Joaquin Nunez.
Happy birthday, Joaquin.
Happy birthday, Joaquin. And also be sure to like our Facebook page. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanboy Comics. Fanboy Comics is an online conglomerate of geek media, providing its readers with daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture spectrum. Check them out at fanboycomics.net. We also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs Family Ties theme song Without Us. Check out Perry's website at perryadams.com. Also Brian Dillon, who created our fantastic drawing and artwork, as well as edits our show. Brian is the president and co-founder of Fanboy Comics, so follow him on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. And lastly, Sean Foster, Fanboy Comics graphic designer, for designing our logo. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy birthday, Joaquin.